Okay, time to look after yourselves and protect those hands. Let's roll. Hello and welcome to another episode of the HEMA Show. I, like always, am your host Stuart, and this is edited by my acquaintance, Andy. Say hi, Andy. Good work, good work. I can only imagine the shit you've just given me in a meme. Good work, man. Keep it up. So today, we're looking at gloves. That fucking question. Gloves, for those of you that don't know, are a highly debated topic in the HEMAverse. Or certainly have been in the past. It kind of seems to have settled down a little bit. But honestly, gloves are one of those things that are so personalised that you kind of just go with what you like. And also, before I get too in depth, people always ask me as a coach, what glove should I get? What glove should be my first pair of gloves? And it's such a hard question to answer, because the question really needs to be, well, what sword do you like to fight with? If you like longsword, you're going to need something with much more protection. If you like rapier, you're going to need something with much more dexterity. If you like something like saber, you are going to need fucking ambulances. I'm in a bad mood today. If you like something like saber, you're going to need something much more like a medium glove, where you've got the protection across the knuckles, but actually it's low profile enough to be able to fit in. So the question of, I'm going to get my first pair of gloves, what should I get, is kind of really the second question that should be asked. It should be, what sword do you think I should get? What gloves should I get to accompany them? So today, this is, in my opinion, the best pair of gloves for longsword. Now, what I have here on my hand are sparring gloves for sparring. Great name. These are the sparring gloves. These are, some of you, oh Jesus, oh sweet baby Jesus. These are incredible. I absolutely love these gloves. These, in my opinion, are second to none. And here's why. They are the same clamshell kind of concept as many gloves throughout history, in all fairness, big old gauntlet chappies. But like everyone's go-to, the Spez Heavies, these have the fingers all encompassed, the thumb is in there, but these have so many features that just set these above the Spez Lobsters. So first and foremost, and one thing that I absolutely bloody love, is the fingers are not divided up. It is just literally a catch that your fingers go inside. I used to wear a base layer glove. I got some motorcycle base layer gloves that will go inside of this, just out of laziness. The last couple of times I thought I've not worn them, so I tend to just have them plain, but that's just laziness on my part. But these will fit a base layer underneath them. But there's no divide between the fingers. In some of the lobsters, you find that your hands do this a lot. And if you're like me, long fingers, you'll end up just really rubbing across here. It's really uncomfortable, really, really unpleasant. So first thing, right off the bat, you notice when you're wearing these, is these are just all one in here, and it's absolutely lovely. The second thing, the thumb is just so protected. I've taken some absolute hooning wallops to the hand with these, and the thumb is absolutely fine. This is one solid piece of plastic here, attached further down underneath this bit of knuckle protection here. The thumb is highly protected, but at the same time, very mobile. You could probably have, again, a thumb war in these if it was the 90s. So I really, really like these gloves. The next thing that's really, really, really worth mentioning is they're so low profile compared to the Spez Heavies. But they're just so much slimmer. You've got, if you count in the added space either side of it, you've got about an inch less profile, and just makes these such better gloves, such smaller targets to go for. The whole Spez, I chopped, I missed, but I hit your glove in it, you get the twack sound ring out across the hull. It doesn't happen with these because they're so much smaller that you don't get those cheeky, dodgy little hits to the hand, and it doesn't ring like a freaking bell. Loud when it does get hit. So they're absolutely brilliant. They're just that bit lower profile that just makes a huge, huge difference. So the low profile makes a massive difference. They're very easy to repair. All kit breaks, got to look after it, but accidents happen. All of these little anchor points here are the bits that go. And I think to a certain degree they're designed to fail in those areas so that they can be repaired. For example, I was fighting a long time ago, in fact almost 2 years ago to the day, and the thumb on this hand came off.
Just a flesh wound.
But it snapped across there, thumb went flying off, match stopped, whatever. But I mean, that's a bodge. But it's a piece of paracord. Let's put it back on, and it's absolutely fine, and it's held ever since. They're so easy to repair, they're so easy to fix, they're so easy to work on. I absolutely love these gloves. The next thing is the wrist. The wrist is hyper mobile. It does take a little bit of breaking in to make it move this much, but not a huge amount. Not a huge amount. They are so mobile. I mean, I can almost call you a wanker without my glove being on. They're so mobile, and what it means is you just get, unlike when spares heavies are new, they're turbo, these have just got so much movement. It's absolutely lovely. I don't have a longsword to hand. But there's so much movement. You can really get a lot of movement in these, and you've just got that movement. It's lovely. You can really do a lot of complicated maneuvers in these. So the wrists are segmented plates. There's a plate between each of these bits of stitching here, and that just allows for a huge amount of movement here. The next thing down is this cuff. This is the long cuff. You can get the short cuff, the medium cuff, and I think the hourglass or something this is called. This is the hourglass. Basically what this means is you do not need any forearm protection. This just covers the whole thing. Elbow cops, obviously an absolute must, but it just means that your glove takes over half of your arm, which just makes you so much safer. No fastening at all. This is just elastic. These just pull on and pull off. They're really easy to apply. This is the gloves. The first gloves I had, nobody cares, Stu, Jesus Christ. The first gloves I had were the Hand of Glories, and they were just an absolute pain to get on. Once you got one of them on, the other one was almost impossible to get on. These, put them both on at the same time, so easy. And if you just need to take them off, take your mask off, whatever, have a drink, pull what's left of your hair out of your eyes, put it back on. It's just so much easier. The ability just to quickly whip off the gloves and put them back on is huge. It's really important. So I love these, and this is a huge part of that. The only thing you have to watch out for with this bit is if you have the spares AP jacket of any description, the forearm plate will catch on these. So you might find that you're fighting like that because these have caught on like a forearm plate or something, but you'll soon notice it because it feels very strange. It's like, oh yeah, okay, done. You're on. I can't rate these gloves highly enough. They're absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love them. Lower profile, like I said, but not compromised on protection. You do get, how do I phrase this? You do get a little bit more pain to your hands than with the Spares Lobsters, because these aren't frickin' Hurt Locker gloves, you know, they're not like that. There is less mass, there is less material to them, but they are not damaging at all. I've got some monster hits with these, and yeah, you kind of go, ah, fuck, that hurt, but nothing to the degree where it even makes a bruise. And the reason why I've left the right glove on is because I don't know if the camera will pick it up right here. You can just, I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up, but literally just here, there is a mark. That is where someone, fighting longsword, farting about like I normally do, just stepping forwards, and it's one of those two decreasing distances. I stepped forwards to cut. I wasn't really paying attention. The leg went before the arm, so I was going close, and someone just counter lunged into me and just pinned my hand to my body. Oh, Andy's gonna fucking kill me. That's been touching the mic.
Whoa, no touchy. No touchy.
It pinned my hand to my body, and I was moving forwards, they were moving forwards, a tip hitting my hand and just absolutely destroying it with longsword. Stuck it to my body, and it didn't hurt. Well, I mean, it hurt to a degree that I got hit with a freaking sword, but no damage, no bruise, no nothing. It was absolutely fine. And the second one on this, the camera will definitely pick that up, that whacking great big hole. I was coming in over the top here, and I was lunging low, and just bad luck. The other person was an ox, went over the top, hit me in the wrist here, and that was a hell of a hit. That was an absolute monster hit. If I'd been wearing any other glove, that would have been a broken wrist. I've no doubt about it. It is right on the ulna where it landed. It landed just shy here, so right on the tip of the ulna. If not broken, then certainly a fracture. There's no way the camera is going to pick that up, but this is where the damage is. On the inside, it feels like someone's depressed a marble into the outside and pushed it. That's what's happened. But again, that was any other glove. I stand by this. That would have broken my wrist, but this protected me. So the sparring gloves for longsword, absolutely brilliant. I cannot rate them highly enough. In my opinion, the best gloves you can have for longsword. Compromised to a certain degree on the absolute level of protection that the lobsters give you, but what you lose on that doesn't leave you open to injury, but what it does do is it gives you a smaller profile glove. So anyone asks me what gloves I recommend, I always go for these if it's something like longsword. If you are going for side sword, definitely didn't just film the Velux review and it happens to be lying here. I mean, you can hold it, but this is the guard that you've got. You've got no other chance. It doesn't quite fit in. However, these will fit inside an Coveton Eastern Sabre. I fought with this last night, no, 2 days ago, with this in a Eastern, and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. It fitted in. I had to hold it, squidge in and go. Once I was in, I could move it absolutely freely. So this is absolutely brilliant. I bought these for $150 at the time. I think the price has gone up since then. Should have researched that before recording, but fuck it, who cares? So really, really recommend these. When it comes to smaller gloves, I'll do call that our heavy glove review. If you're going to go for a heavy glove, I would go for those. There are lots of other things on the market that fill multiple roles. I would have a designated pair of gloves, light, medium and heavy. And for the heavy gloves, those are your ones. Anyway, on to today's question. So today's question comes from Jackson. Jackson asks me, how do you make your tips safe? So this is part of a wider conversation that I had with this chap. So he's a fencer. All fencing swords come with some sort of blunt. Even if it's a bare sword, they're usually forged flat on the end, so they receive a rubber tip. And he was asking me how HEMA swords are made safer, and how I personally make my HEMA swords safer, because they look so much more dangerous than fencing swords. So, obviously, this is what I have on my side sword at the moment. This is pretty much just for sparring. This isn't for serious tournament stuff. I can't imagine there are many tournaments that would be happy with these. These have a habit of flying off. This came off last night when I was fighting with it. So they come off fairly easy. So how do I make tips, or how do I recommend tips be safest? Really simple. There's only one thing I personally would recommend. That's this. This is White Morph. This is a meltable thermal plastic. It comes... Oh, that's going to drive Andy nuts. Yeah. So it comes as little white beads. Huge sack of them. Get some out. So tiny little white beads. That's what it comes like. So you put a bunch of these white beads into recently boiled water. It recommends 60 degrees. I mean, fucking chuck a boiling water in a pan. And then you pour some in, it goes clear, and then you kind of smush it together, and it makes this, which is a solid lump of plastic. And then when it's clear, you just basically put it in a bowl. Imagine this is clear. It forms this. You pull a bit off and you can mold it really easily. And all I do is I pull a chunk off, I put it flat. Flatten it out like a 50p, put the center of it over, and then literally just fucking condom it down and then pinch it around. Let that cure, let it dry until it goes white. Do the same thing, pull another bit off, make like a 50p size out of it, put it over the top, condom it down again, and that makes it really safe. And what the great thing about this Plastomorph is it is rock hard. It doesn't set like just a little bit hard. It doesn't set quite firm. It sets like legit, like a stone, like a rock. It cannot be harder. The only way you're going to get this off is with a saw or by heating it up again. So I recommend Plastomorph if you are going to put any sort of tip on your blades. Don't fart about with blunts. I think that's been and gone. I've Plastomorphed the whole way. This bag was 10 quid, I think. And this was 40 grams I measured out. And I measured out 40 grams, and that did 15 epées, 4 foils, a side sword, and this is what was left of that 40-gram blob that was left over. And then I've still got another 250 grams, so it comes to 250 grams, so I've got another 210 grams, probably 209 because there's a bunch of it on the floor. I've still got a bunch of it left, so a bag like this will do you for frickin' ages. And the great thing about it is it's so cheap, so affordable that if it starts to rub away, if it starts to like split or crack, Stanley knife it, flick it off, do it again. It's inexpensive to replace. So it's absolutely great. I cannot rate this stuff highly enough. If you're going to make a tip safe, don't dither about with anything else. Go straight for white moth or any kind of thermoplastic, and that will just be the best option for it. One thing to be wary of it is because it is so firm, not like rubber, it won't kind of move around as you, I don't know, hit on a surface, for example. So white moth is a little bit more susceptible to kind of being sanded away if you're the sort of person like me, you kind of drag your tip across the floor or you make contact with the floor or anything like that. It will start to sand away a little bit quicker than this. But again, it is so affordable that it's really not an issue. So yeah, use white moth if you're going to make your tips safe. Other than that, see you next time. I've got to pick all this up now. Yeah.